Leadership is the ability of an individual or group of individuals to influence or guide followers or other members of an organization or family. Leadership is not a position, but a choice to achieving results through shared vision, execution of strategy, and maximizing potentials. Leadership is service.
Leadership is service.
Yes, it is.
And leadership responsibilities include seeing others as whole people with body, mind, heart, and spirit. Therefore, a good leader, moves from telling to fixing, to coaching, and building capacity and leadership in others.
More often, we are told that the problem in Africa and indeed the world, is its inability to produce good leaders.
So, on Today with John and Helen this week, we attempt to answer 3 very important questions, and they are: who is a leader? How important is following and leading? Finally, who are the leaders of tomorrow?
And welcome to a great and rewarding conversation as we focus on raising leaders. I am Fumi Inuajefe, standing in for Helene Omar Odeleye, and John Senaya is on the hot seat today.
Yes, I was going to say, yes, I swapped Helen today for my young Fumi.
Yeah.
So it's good to have you here, Fumi.
It's good to be here. And this is a very interesting topic we're talking about today. I really am passionate about leadership. And I know that in this country, Nigeria, we go on and on about how the leaders and the followers, but I always like to relate it to like family. If the father does not provide leadership for the children, you can't begin to hold the children accountable and say that, they should provide leadership for their fathers. But I think in the course of our conversation we'll get there where we're talking about leaders and also
leading by example.
Leading by example. And it's almost like the whole leadership structure in Nigeria has just like falling apart, but hey. Anyway, so we're as eager as you are to get started, but before we do, let's take a short break. This is Today with John and Helen. Stay with us.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Thank you for staying with us. And I wonder why I'm so excited this morning. Maybe it's because Fumi is here.
Yeah.
Well, our focus today is raising leaders. How early and at what stage do we begin to recognize our future leaders, or their qualities of leadership?
And also when we're told that leaders' most important role is to provide clear and compelling direction, ensuring followers understand, embrace, and collectively work towards achieving goals and setting new targets.
So, for me, who receives your vote for a good leader?
Well, in my organization that I work currently, my MD, Lekon receives my good for a good leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who received your vote for as a good leader?
Who received?
For you?
For me?
Yes.
Can I award it to myself?
As a good leader. Well, your followers will have to tell us. If you're a good leader.
Okay, JS's followers, let's know if he is indeed a good leader or a follower.
Okay.
Maybe feedbacks will tell us that.
Yeah, sure. Feedback will tell us that. And some of my followers, quote unquote, are the ones behind the stage.
Yes.
Helping, to do all of that.
Yes.
Anyway, so a quick reminder that when John and I have done justice to who is a leader and leading plus following, Farrah Wotoma will be here to take over with her guest, Steve Harris, and you don't want to miss this. She'll be discussing tomorrow's leaders.
Yes. Charity, they say, begins at home. And as such, our first guest on the show today will look at many factors attributable to good or bad leadership right from the family. She holds a bachelor's degree in computer science from the Lagos State University. Winner Global Nutrition Competition, Sunhitch, 2020. Founder Baby Crubs, and an experienced nutrition educator, an accomplished entrepreneur, and a lot more. Please welcome to the program, Sheung Shongoleye. Quite a rich profile.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning, Sheung. Thank you for joining us this morning.
I'm glad you invited me. Thank you very much.
So the subject for discussion is, it's quite timely and very, very crucial to a lot of us. You're welcome once again.
Thank you very much,
Yeah?
Mr. John.
So, this claim to... First of all, let me start with you, because you are, a leader running an organization, you run Baby Grubs, you run all of that. How did you prepare yourself for the role that you currently, you have as a leader? Because, it's very easy to point and say, this man is not a good leader, this man is not a good leader. So when it's now your own turn to sit down in the chair and wear the cap, how did you prepare yourself for that?
Thank you very much. I wasn't expecting that question, but I think for me, working as an employee was one of the things that prepared me, to become a good leader in my own organization. I've worked with a lot of bosses, and I know being a follower, a good follower too, and then also understanding, their own pluses and minuses, their shortcomings. It just helped me pick from, their strengths, and then say, when I become a leader, when I have my own organization, this is how I want to run it. So understudying other leaders has helped. And also, I was raised, I would like to believe, to be a good leader. With the right values growing up. Those were the things that really helped me, that are still helping me in my business.
Okay, great.
And you know what? I always tell people that even when you are in a failed situation,
yes,
you would have learned how not to do
fail.
things.
Exactly.
Yeah, how not to do things.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, of course, they say that the youth of today are expected to be the leaders of tomorrow.
Correct.
But that doesn't really happen without structures. What do we need to focus on to prepare ourselves, our youth, for leadership tomorrow?
Thank you very much, Mr. Senaya. For me, I'm very intentional about parenting. And I think before they even become youths, it starts from the cradle when they're young. I grew up with my grandparents, and I went on to stay with my parents. But growing up, there were some values and some other things that they did, and I still do with my children. My son, my first son, is 9 years old. He's the one that coordinates family prayers every evening.
Okay.
So one of the things that we can do is to give them tasks. Even my baby, she can clean the table. My baby she turned 4 last month. You know, after dinner, she clears the table and cleans the table. So if we want our youth to become good leaders, we need to start trusting them and giving them responsibilities from when they are small, you know, and also help them understand what a leader is and what a leader is not. I remember that when I was teaching my children about leadership, it took them a lot of time to understand what servant leadership was. And that was one of the things that was most important to me, because I see that our idea of a leader is the person that takes the biggest things, the lion's share of things. Our idea of a leader is the person who is the, you know, even though, yes, it is the accomplisher of the greatest things and all of that, but there are other sides to it. There's a part where you make sure everybody is served. There's a part where you make sure that everybody is comfortable. You see things that everybody does not see. You are the one that is most uncomfortable. And so those are the things, the other side of leadership that we need our youth to know and understand, that even though there's glamour and glitz in all of this, but there's still the other side of leadership where you are the servant.
Yes. I'm quite interested in your 4-year-old girl.
Thank you.
That's a baby leader.
I know, right?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Well, you know, it leads me to my next question.
Yes, please.
Are leaders born or made?
It's a catch-22, but yes, both. I'd like to think both. There are people that are born with innate skills of how to be a leader, what to do. You know, some people it's inbred. But there are other people that needs to learn. There's nothing we cannot learn. We can learn to be a good leader. And even if you were born with it, and even if you learned it, there's always room for improvement. You know, we continuously improve in our leadership abilities.
It's always work in progress.
It's always a work in progress. Okay. I'll use myself as an example. I'm more of the rewarder type of boss.
Okay.
You know, so if I want my staffs to come to work early, so this was something I actually did. We decided to make breakfast available for anyone that comes in before a certain time.
I'd like to work for you.
You know? And then they started coming in. Everybody comes in early.
Oh, fantastic. That's a good,
you know, and then, but it backfired after a while.
Okay.
And then, so some people...
How did it backfire? What happened?
Okay, so I think from reports that I heard, their direct line manager was saying that sometimes they become just lax. They come in early, and when it's time to work, they are still trying to get into the groove. Oh. Maybe they had a heavy breakfast or something. I don't know.
Of course, it will be heavy.
And then he says, so I think that was what he said. We made it lighter, but he would, and then when we made it lighter, some people decided not to come early, and they were coming late. And so he now said he wants us to, you know, use the other side, reverse it. I'm like, okay, we'll give it a try. And so I've had to be flexible, listen to the managers who are the ones running the show to see how they can get the best from their direct line. Okay. So yes,
that's what leadership is about, to be able to just change the strategy. You try something that's not working, and you move on to something else. Okay, so I want to take you back when you were talking about, you know, your 9-year-old leading, you know, devotion in the evening. Well, you see that a lot of young people today, technology, you know, we think that everything's fast, pam, 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 you know, and they were telling, you know, our parents and people that, look, you're slow. All these things, you don't have to wait till, you understand? How do we begin to teach, you know, our children or younger people that, look, technology is there, that's made your life easier, you know, but you don't have to live on impulses, you don't have to live on that. How do you now, you know, merge all of that and ingrain proper leadership skills into?
That's still something I'm working on too. And I had to actually Google something. I Googled how to teach children resilience.
Okay.
You know, because not all children are the same. My same 9-year-old whom I said is great at, you know, coordinating everybody, getting his sisters ready to do things and all of that. And when they were learning to play the keyboard, he gave up because the girls were faster and they were going from lesson to lesson, and he struggled a bit, you know, to get the keys and the notes and all of that, and just said, I give up. And there was almost nothing I could say that will make him change his mind.
Oh dear.
But so I now see that resilience is something that everyone needs to learn, even adults and youths. And that would help us really to become, slow down and then just see that everything does not go like this.
True.
Even for me, I was, there's an entrepreneur I admired, and I was following her story, and I realized that even though it seemed like she's just here now, it took her 20 years. I'm like, okay, mine is just 8 years. I still have a long way to go. So we need to learn resilience. We need to teach resilience as well, and then put this into leadership. Don't look at everybody. Everything is not like this.
Sure.
And it reminds me of that story of the oak and other trees. There's a Chinese bamboo tree story too.
Oh, yes.
That takes,
it takes about 5 years,
5 years
to come out
in the soil before it comes out. But when it comes out, it's firmly rooted.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that we need to let them understand, that it's not something that can just disappear or happen overnight. It takes time. If you want something good or something solid, it takes time to develop. Don't look at celebrities and say that, oh, they're here. Their life is curated. Everything that you see is curated. Everyone has their struggles and challenges. So take your time to go through yours.
Okay, so
life
you know what we're
steps.
going to do?
Yes.
On that note, on the bamboo, on the Chinese bamboo story, we'll take a little break.
Okay.
And then when we come back, we'll take it from there.
Thank you.
Don't go away.
Skin by Zaran Ultra Moisturizing Body Lotion. A non-greasy formula with the richest vitamins and acids to enrich your skin. Shop now at www.zarancosmetics.com. Skin by Zaran. Healthy skin, happier you.
Hello and welcome. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there is regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters. Nimasa bears responsibility for search and rescue, shipping development, and ship registration.
Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on this channel.
Thank you for staying with us. The show is Today with John and Helen. In case you're just joining the conversation, which is centered on raising leaders. So our guest today is still Sheol Shangoleye, and she's here with us talking about how parenting is very essential in the leadership role. So now, Sheol, I want to ask you, leadership skills are acquired in the classroom. Is that possible to acquire, for children to acquire leadership skills in the classrooms in schools?
It is possible.
Okay.
Very
Why
possible.
do you say so?
So there are so many things that you need to learn, and it's not just the academics. I know that for me, growing up, and I still know that you have those type of things. You have class captains.
Yes.
You have the class reps and all of that. For me, when I was in primary school, I was made the timekeeper. And this was because I was so noisy in class and I never sat still. And so it felt like a punishment to me, but then it also helped me to learn how to be more on time in doing things.
Okay.
It also helped me to learn how to, get everybody to do things at the time they're supposed to do things. So that was leadership skills learning for me.
How come I was never made class captain?
I was class captain.
I was never class captain either.
That's a joke, really. I think I was, I think I headed a few groups.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, not
you
the
be class captain, but you
groups.
still don't put and make noise to write it. So, hey.
Okay, so, well, now, we don't hope that kids will become, or children, I rather call them children, right? That they'll become leaders if we never let them practice. And that requires, stepping back and allowing them to step forward and possibly fall. Someone said to me, you fail
forward.
You fail forward. Yeah, you heard that before.
Yes, I
yeah. So, how ready are our parents to do this? Allow children to have a goal.
Thank you very much. That's a really good question. We need to let them be children. Last night, my brother shared a story with me, and I'll just share it with you. My son had a funny haircut last night. And I was like, why did you cut your hair like this? He said, do you know it was the barber that cut his hair like that? And then my brother said, he remembers when he told my mom he needed to cut his hair a particular style. And then my mom said, okay, go ahead and cut it. She didn't stop him. And then he now said, cutting that hairstyle was the first and last time he ever did. Because he now learned on his own, not from my mom, that he should never cut that because of the type of things that he got. The reactions from people outside and all of that. And some people be like, no, I don't want you rolling with that kid and all of that. And so sometimes we need to let them make their own mistakes and learn. And learn.
That's failing forward.
Failing forward. Yeah. They learn how not to do things. Yeah. When my son was learning to fry plantains, he got it right the first 2 times. And then the 3rd time, he thought he was a pro. Was playing with his tablet and then forgot that he was fine. And then he burnt, and then he learned. I've always told him, be careful. You need to time yourself. You need to focus on one thing. Don't do this. And then he learned by himself. And so that's also another example of failing forward. They learn by doing things, and we should, give them the reins, the responsibilities, and they grow like that.
That's very instructive, because you know that the average parent today wants to just shelter themselves. Sometimes these parents, you say something, I'll say to Yoruba and then I'll translate it. I suffered when I was growing up. I don't want my children to suffer. And we forget that is that suffering, quote and unquote, that built us with resilience and grit and everything. But anyway, let me. My next question to you is about listening skills, because we find that a lot of people today don't even get to listen. We already have at the back of our mind what we want to say, and we don't listen. So how do we begin to even build that in children? Because even with children, there's a lot of distraction. You mentioned tablet, there's TV, fast-paced world. How do we get them to calm down and listen?
That's a big one. I think we can start by setting some ground rules on explaining things to them. When it's time, when you're having discussions, don't even hold your phone. When we're having dinner, that's a great time or an opportunity to learn. And so focus on that person that you're speaking to at that point in time. And also, when it comes to, for my children, it might be mean, but when somebody has done something to the other person and somebody is crying, I'd be like, go and cry. When you're done crying, come, let's talk about it.
Fantastic.
And so they can communicate without letting their emotions cloud,
judgment. Oh, wow.
So sometimes it feels mean to me, but I need them to, I separate the mother from the life coach or the emotions coach and say, okay, you need to tell me exactly what went wrong. What do you think it is? And allow them come up with things. They also need to learn to listen to themselves.
True.
So I don't rush to say things or save them. And so when they say that they have this challenge, and I ask them, how do you think you can solve it? What do you think is the solution? What can you do better? What not to, so even though listening is to other people, you also as an individual, the children, even it's part of leadership,
Oh yes, it is. It is a part of.
Thank you. Sorry, Jess. I just want to say something. You know why I'm smiling as you're saying this? 2 things came to me. First of all, I'm also in this habit that sometimes, I confess, I'm talking to my son and then I have my phone and he's, even though sometimes maybe they were just having us like a casual, nothing. I won't say maybe something serious, but this thing that you said about the fact that you shouldn't even have your phone while you're talking to your child, because my son, has a phone, and then there was a day that I was telling him that, so he has a limit of when he can use the phone, and I purposely got him that phone because, to communicate while I'm at work and the housekeeper and all of that. So when I got home that day, he was still using his phone. He has to use it, he stops using it at a particular time. And then while I was telling him that you can't use your phone, I was still holding my phone. So he was asking me that, Mommy, how come you get to use your phone and I don't get to, I don't get to use my phone?
Yeah.
And then the second thing on why I was smiling, why this resonated with what you were saying, is the fact that so recently he's in year 6 and they're choosing prefects, year 6, primary 6, and they're choosing prefects. He said he didn't want to be a prefect, that he wanted to focus on his studies because they even went to school today, so they're doing extra lessons on Saturdays, they get to go to school. And then I was still trying to convince him that, you should be a prefect. Your school has amazing leadership abilities. And you know that thing about listening to yourself. Guess what? I printed out the form for him. He did it, everything. But when he got to school, he did not submit it. It was even the teacher that that called me and said, this young man did not submit, and she was apologizing. Even though I think eventually I got an email yesterday saying that, there was, I think maybe some assistant or something. So in this thing you just said, it's very instructive to me, even as a parent, that we have to practice what we preach to our children, and then also we have to teach them to listen to their own instincts. I'm so sorry, James. I just had to.
It's okay. I was going to take us to an interesting part of family life.
Okay.
I want us to talk about dining tables.
Oh.
Let's talk about dining tables.
Okay.
Because a lot of leadership skills are taught at the dining table. You remember, you just talked about, meal times is the best time. But you see, now we hardly find families come together for meals. What are we missing?
Things have changed.
Yeah, things have really
changed. And we might not really, really go back to how things were, but we can make the best of the time that we have. I think everyone should decide on one particular meal that the family can take together. So for us, I think, for me, I'm very intentional about breakfast and dinner. Most times, lunch, we don't get to do it together.
Yes.
But dinner is the most important for us, and that's when we sit all together. So when you decide on one meal that you all can have together, at meal times, you can have topics that you discuss. You can also have, have somebody share how their day went. Sometimes I realize that, sadly, if we are not intentional about these things, we don't even know what is going on in your family members' lives.
True, very true.
I always tell my staffs that we spend more time together than with our families.
Yeah.
And so we have to be really, really intentional about our meal time. And that's really when everybody, we are calm. We usually say don't talk while you're eating, but but it's an opportunity really to just catch up on your day, what's going on, how did,
even body language, even when you're not talking.
Just read.
Catching each other's feelings, Yes. So back to the dining tables.
Back to the dining. Well, I agree with her. Times have changed. By the time somebody's in traffic, come back. Are you going to wait for your children to wait for you? It's not like before, because I grew up with, my mom was a civil servant. Our house was in Victoria Island. Her office was in Marina. There was no traffic like this. So if she closes at 4, by 4:20, 4:30, she's already home. So that worked. But things have changed, like you said. So my question to you, that all of these things we've talked about is good parenting.
Yes.
But who is teaching the parent to be a good parent? Because to raise all of these leadership skills, not every parent realizes this. So how does the parents now even learn their own, leadership skill and, parenting, and ensure that they balance it?
Thank you for that question. And I think it's really, really important, because children don't do what you say, they do what you do. Meaning that we have to model the ideal leader to them in their homes. And back to the table, like you said, one of the things that we do is, we wait until the children are served before we eat.
Sure.
That's one part of it. We don't say daddy should take 5 portions of meat when the children take one. It can be
It can be democratically.
It can be, well, if
children actually need the protein
they
more.
They need it more, actually. So, those are the things. And who teaches the parents, like you said? There are people who are gifted at these things. For me, I like to use myself as an example. My grandparents were very, very intentional about parenting. My grandfather would teach me things, take his time. And he was not a traditional person. There are no tasks that are for boys and some for girls.
Everybody across.
I learned how to I brought my gadgets to the house when I got married. My soldering iron, my screwdrivers and all of that, because I was very handy. You know, so we need to learn, let's not be let's not put ourselves in boxes or put the children in boxes. And we also need to learn, the same way we learn about leadership, we need to learn about how to be good parents. You know, I spoke to you about Googling about learning how to teach children resilience. You know, there are people that have learned this, there are psychologists, there are all kinds of experts at all of these things. We really need to learn. And there are some courses online that just drops in your email maybe once in a week, you know, to teach you one thing or the other about, you know, being a good parent. Yes. So we can learn.
Yes, and it's an ongoing process, you know,
yes,
for the parents, for the children.
And one interesting thing is we never end parenting. We never stop. There's no time, there's no point in time.
Yeah,
I just thought about it one day and said, okay, there's no time I stopped being a parent.
Yeah, forever.
I lost my grandfather in August. It was very, you know, we're still trying to cope with the grief. But when I went to see him just some few days before he passed, he said he overheard me talking to my mom about, you know, having conversations, argument with someone. And who is the person that is disturbing my granddaughter? Let me go there, let me do this. I'm like, what can you do?
Yeah.
You know, but we never stop being parents. And so for every time, every stage in the life of the child, we need to learn what is best and how to do it.
Yes. Well, we're talking about parents. We shouldn't forget about our teachers, because our children spend even
more time with the teachers,
than the parents do.
Yes.
Yeah. And I hope that the teachers are listening, because, you know, all of this that we've talked about, you know, allowing the children to try it out, fail forward, and all of that, that they realize it. Because, you know what? Where I used to live, I have next door to me a school.
Okay.
And most times I'm so upset at what I hear, or the kind of relationship I see between the teachers and...
What kind of relationship?
Sometimes, even the way that the students will talk to
the teachers,
you're wondering that, is this what they are being taught? I mean, there are little soft... Is it soft skills now?
Yes, but the challenge is, sorry to interrupt you, Gia, this is the challenge we have right now in 2021, and I say this to you with all regard, is that, and I've also even taught, the challenge we have right now is that parents also are the problems with that. Because, you know, gone are the days, so yes, I'm not saying that a teacher should give your child a smackdown, you know, WWF kind of thing.
I know, right?
But we do not regard teachers anymore. You know, we go to teacher, who are you? Where are you? You know, this thing we do in Nigeria, every day we're talking about who are you? And I'm always wondering, if we don't know who you are, why am I the one telling you? So you're asking who the teacher is, where is he from? You can't talk to my child like that. No. So that teacher is also going to be very careful. In as much as I agree that teachers should not just run wild and just talk to my child or address my child anyhow, but the regard we used to have and the respect we have for education and teachers, you know, in time past is not really what it is. And right now, especially for most private schools, he who pays the piper, he takes the tune.
Yes.
So don't let me go on, because producers already giving us sign of how many minutes left. But really, that's even another topic for another topic for another day. Yeah,
that's another topic.
That's the challenge right now. That's it.
Great.
Quite agree.
Great.
Okay, I think how many minutes more do we have, dear Adeba? So we have to wrap up. We really have to wrap up. Maybe I'll allow JS take the last question before you.
And the last question actually is my favorite.
Okay, so
and you answered part of it at the beginning, but I'd like you to go over it again.
Okay.
As a parent, when do I start teaching leadership skills? Is it from the cradle? Or when they get to age 4, or when they can start talking?
There's no age. I think it's from the cradle. Actually, from when they can put the spoon in the mouth. You know, there are different things there are different aspects to leadership.
Okay.
You can teach them how to share.
Sure.
Share this with your sibling, with your mom. You know, sharing is one of the things that children, they struggle with. They quite struggle with it, because they feel that the world, they own everything.
Yeah.
You know, so we can teach them how to share. teach them empathy, teach them, you know, I think naturally children are emphatic people. So from when they are small, really, there's no age that you say that, oh, when my child is 10, I'll take you to the Leadership Academy or something.
Yeah.
No. And then we also, like I said, parents should model it. You know, when you finish eating, pack your plates, you know.
Yeah.
Daddy should pack his plate.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Daddy,
And
pack your
then-
plates. Want me to pack your plates? So your
and
child will
then-
follow you and carry
And
your
then
plates
the
too.
child too also finishes the food.
But
and
Daddy
carries
doesn't
it.
do the dishes.
Oh, if the children are not yet old enough to reach the
I'm
counter.
just joking. Just
You know,
joking.
but
Because
yes.
actually, I'm not boasting.
Yeah.
But I even do it in some places, and people wonder,
No.
Daddy, why are you taking your plates?
Is this worship thing that we do for?
I know, right?
You know, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Are there any other examples, you know, that you want to share before we round off? You know, where parents can express leadership, like opening the door for mom, the car
yeah.
door.
I think it's for me.
Another little thing.
I think it's everything because, like, you know, like she said earlier on, children, what they
They're
see you
watching.
do, they're not really what you tell them. You can't tell them,
So
don't
you-
yell, and
you
then
do what
you're
you
shouting
do.
down the house. So it's just really literally you do what
What
you do.
you do.
Yeah. But Cheryl, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking your time to come in, you know, this morning and share with us and share your own personal story and, you know, your own life skills you've taught your children as well.
Thank
we
you very
hope
much.
that when we call on you again, you'll come.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to take a break and go to Pharaoh's segment, the wellness segment. And Pharaoh has Steve Harris in the house. And we'll be talking about the leaders of tomorrow. Parents, listen to your children. They are the leaders of tomorrow. Do you remember that
I didn't
song?
know you were
Yes.
such a good singer.
Do you know that song? Yes. Try and pay our school fees and give us sound education.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, let me personally thank Shion as well.
Thank you very
for
much.
coming. And so what now?
Yeah, it's time for Pharaoh's segment. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Great.
Hello everyone and welcome to the fitness section of today's show. Again, I'm Dolly Phillips and we're at Alpha Fitness Studios in Lekki Phase 1. As you can see, I've got my trusty stool here and I need you to grab a big bottle of water or a big bottle filled with sand or a water bottle, anything that carries some weight because we're going to be working hard today, all right? So, as always, let's start with our quick warm-up. Deep breath in and out and in and out. Two more, in and out. Last one, in and out. Extend those legs, reach down, one and up. Again, two and up. Two more and up. Last one and up. Shoulder rolls back, 4, 3, 2 and 1 and forward, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Shake, 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 shake it up and let's start. So our first workout is top and tail. We're going to push the weights up and down to the floor. And your time starts now. Come on, let's go. And up. Good. Down to the floor. Make sure your body follows that weight. Keep your focus forward so you stay concentrated, yeah? As opposed to dizzy. Come on, focused. That's it. Up. Good. And down. Try not to look down. One more. And time. Now, this is hard. We're going to use one hand to do exactly that same workout. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. We're going up first. Let's go. Up, down to the floor. Awesome. Up, down to the floor. Engage those abs. Squeeze those abs so that they're involved in that workout. All right? A few more here. Good. Last 2. And time. Good job. Switch to the other side. Are you ready? We go in 3, 2, and 1. We're pushing up first. Come on. Let's go. Up and down. Again, I can look down because I'm pretty focused. But if looking down makes you feel dizzy, don't look down. Just look straight at me. That's it. Let's go. Keep those shoulders firm, abs tight. Let's do 2 more. 1 more, and time. All right, now we're going to pass the weight under our legs. So we're going to have to lift up. Are you ready? Come on, let's go. Let's do this. Push it up. Other side. Push it up. Pass it through. Push it up. Now we're engaging those abs big time because those legs are coming up, yes? We're going to do 2 rounds of this because it's super effective. Last one, and time. Let's wait for it. Catch your breath. We're going to do that one again. Come on. Get ready. Weight in hand. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Pass it through. Push it up. Pass it through. Push it up. Try not to lean back. Stay upright. So we really use those abs. Come on. That's it. Back nice and straight. That's always a good thing. Protect your spine. 1 more. Beat the time. And awesome. All right. Knees together. We're going to push up and down this way. This is our abs crunching here as we go down. Remember this. Up and down. Push your body forward. Up. We're crunching. That's it. Up and down to the toes. Focus. 1 more. Awesome. Deep breath in. Under the legs. Big hug. 1 more. In. Under the legs. Big hug. Excellent. Shoulder rolls back for 4. We work those arms seriously today. And forward. Good. Now we're going to do a tricep stretch. So here, and pull the elbow. Now bend so you get that side stretch as well. Awesome. Other side. Good. Touch the small of your back, grab the elbow and pull. Bend over as well. 3, 2, 1. And down. Knees to the chest. Awesome. Stretch. And down. Knees to the chest. Extend. Nice hamstring stretch there. And down. Deep breath in. And under. Big hug. In. Under. Big hug. And we're done. Awesome. That was great. So, thanks for joining me. See you next time.
Last week, Zil Akariawe and I attempted to dissect the national anthem and pledge. Today, Steve Harris and I will take it a step further by looking at what raising leaders of tomorrow entails. Because if you recall, the second verse of the national anthem says, "O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and live in just and true, great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign." Let's look at the sentences. Guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know. How do we raise leaders, let alone guide them right? What leadership truth should we be teaching our youth to properly equip them for the role of becoming leaders of tomorrow? Before we delve into this, let me introduce my guest, Steve Harris, fondly called Mr. Ruthless Execution, is a trusted authority in the fields of life and business strategy, a highly sought-after management consultant, business accelerator and author, as well as the CEO of Edge Execution. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Steve is regarded as one of Africa's leading business coaches, and I'm thoroughly honored to have him here with us today. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, glad to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. It's an awesome morning because you're here.
You're here. Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody complains about our leaders. Yeah?
Yep.
And when I hear the complaints, what comes to mind for me is why.
Right.
Yeah? Someone made these leaders and people enable them. So why are we absorbing ourselves of responsibility? Why are we acting like they became bad leaders all on their own?
Right.
You know, we need to spend more time. For me, we need to spend more time on tomorrow's leaders.
Right.
So for me, when people talk about the existing leaders and how bad they are, as much as I'm like, okay, yeah, they're bad, they didn't get there on their own, I think the focus needs to shift.
Right.
You know, our leaders for tomorrow are the younger people.
Uh-huh.
And we need to be able to fix the problem that we created.
Right.
So let's delve right in. And I want to start by differentiating between leaders and leadership.
Right.
What is the difference?
Well, great question and good morning. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. Now, I think leadership is a state of responsibility. And I think a leader is anyone who takes responsibility, whether or not you have position. So I'll say that again. Leadership is a state of assuming responsibility.
Okay.
And a leader is anyone who assumes that responsibility. Whether or not you have a political or titular position, you're a leader. A mom is a leader. A father is a leader. A teacher is a leader. Give you an example. If you've ever been in traffic and you notice that maybe there's so much chaos and, you know, no driver wants to give way to the other, one of the things you'll notice, and I've seen this happen too many times, some random guy, and in some cases I've seen somebody you would consider as physically challenged. He has no car. He has no skin in the game. And all of a sudden that physically challenged guy he assumes responsibility for clearing traffic, and automatically he becomes the leader. He tells everyone to stop. He tells them to go. And everyone listens to a guy who, so to speak, is physically challenged, who, number one, doesn't have a car. So he has no skin in the game. He has no air conditioning. He was just minding his business, but he saw a problem and decided to take responsibility for solving that problem. That person is a leader. That's what I think.
Yeah, you're 100% right, because we see a lot of these guys in Lagos traffic and everybody listens to them. And a lot of the times, it's not that somebody has asked them to do it.
Sure.
They've just decided that that's what they're going to do.
And have you also noticed that the guys who actually are the leaders, so for example, you know, the traffic regulatory agencies who are wearing the uniforms, may tell you to stop and you won't listen to them.
Yep.
So that means having a position doesn't make you a leader. Why? Because you didn't take responsibility. So anyone who takes responsibility for fixing a problem, whether or not they're rewarded for solving that problem, that person is a leader, and that person should be followed.
Very, very true. So that then takes me to the question, is leadership a gift or is it a learned skill?
Leadership is a gift of responsibility.
Okay.
So I'll say that again. Leadership is a gift and a burden of responsibility. So yes, I know that there's the argument about nature versus nurture. Are leaders born or are they made? But I think a leader is someone who has taken responsibility, who refuses to agonize about the problem and chooses to organize a solution. Now, if you think about it, I mean, all of us can be pundits about Nigeria. We can talk about Nigeria's issues from pre-colonialism till now, and we all have an opinion. But how many of us are taking responsibility to solve the problems that we see in Nigeria? And you hear people say, let me run for office. And weirdly enough, you try to run for office to make things better, and the people who are supposed to be leaders are the ones who will pull you down. They'll frustrate you.
Yeah.
So I think leadership is both a gift, but it's also a burden.
Yeah.
It's a burden, and I think that's how we need to be able to look at it.
Leadership is a gift and a burden. So how do we then navigate through this gift/burden called leadership? Where do we begin?
I think something that is most central to the conversation of leadership is values. What are the values we're trying to build in our society? What are the values we want to see? Because I hate to break it to us, the leaders we have, there's an aphorism that says the leaders you get is a reflection of the society you have.
Yes.
And most societies deserve the leaders they get. So the question is, if we're complaining about the leadership we have in Nigeria, or quote unquote the lack of leadership we have in Nigeria, it's a microcosm of the society we come from. Because those leaders have enablers.
Yep.
And many times we need to ask ourselves, are we enabling bad behavior? A thing about leadership is accountability. A thing about leadership is feedback. So if there's no room for feedback, there's no room for accountability, then people are just going to run riot. So the question is, are we building a society of enablers of bad leadership, where everyone is waiting to see, it's my turn, me too, let me get there and get my own share. So the question is, are we agitating to get into leadership positions for the values of good governance across all levels and not necessarily just political? Or are we just there because we're saying, it's my turn, or you guys have marginalized me too, I need to get my own share? Because everyone wants to slice of the cake, but no one's cooking. No one's cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem we have.
Yeah, you've hit on some real home truths, because it's about the values.
Yeah.
It's about the enablers, and lots of us, even the passive ones, are enablers.
Absolutely.
Because rather than saying, no, that's wrong, that's not right, we're like, please, I don't have time for this, let me go about my business.
Yeah.
We're enablers.
Yeah.
I am an enabler. I'm
Absolutely.
not going to lie and say I'm not. So how do we begin to change this narrative? But there's even two parts to this. There's the grown people, and they're the future leaders.
Right.
How do we change the narrative for the future leaders?
All right, so, when we started this conversation, you started by looking at the second stanza of the national anthem, and I think it's such a powerful stanza. Personally, I think that's my favorite verse.
That's
and I
everybody's
think
favorite
that
verse.
really should be our anthem. Shout out to all you people. I think that should be our anthem. But the words are very profound. O God of creation, direct our noble cause. So let's break it down. So when it says, O God of creation, let's leave that part. Direct our noble cause. What does that mean? It means give us a cause that is bigger than where we are. Give us something, give us a vision that is much larger than our capacity to ever achieve. Give us something. I mean, I'm a big fan of, successful leadership models. And, we look at Dubai today, which is the world's tourism marketplace. And when they started, they only had three things they had going for them. They had sun, they had sand, and they had sea.
Yep.
And then they set a vision to be the world's biggest tourist destination. It didn't look like that when they started that vision, but they had a noble cause, right? And then the next line, O God of creation, directs our noble cause, it says, guide our leaders right. Now, for me, I tend to rephrase that line instead of saying just guide our leaders right. Give us the right leaders that will lead us in the right direction. That's how I interprets it. So because we take it and say, oh, guide our leaders right, yeah, but we must have the right leaders to lead us in the right direction. There's a strategy in management, and they say that when you want to get people on a bus to go in a certain direction, you don't just put people on the bus. The first thing you need to do is to get the wrong people off the bus. Then you get the right person on the bus, the right leader who is now saying, this is the direction we're going. So we must chart a direction to say, let's get the wrong people off the bus. Then get the right people on the bus and say, where are we going? Then when we get the right people on the bus, we must put them in the right positions. Because if you get the right guy, put him in the wrong place, he's not going to be able to deliver. It's like square pegs in round holes. So when I think about that, guide our leaders right, I'm thinking about getting the right people on the bus, getting them on the right seats, getting them going in the right direction. And then the last thing, which is the question you asked me, is help our youth the truth to know. So what is the truth? We need to be able to ask the question, so what is the youth, what's the truth we want the youth to know? First off, I don't believe in the aphorism of leaders of tomorrow. I believe that we're leaders now. We may get position tomorrow, but we're leaders right now. So we need to let the youth know that instead of waiting for position, you can take responsibility right now. And the position can come as proof or as a reward for demonstrated capacity. So all of us are leaders. We've got demonstrated capacity, but unfortunately, and I hate to tie this just to politics, we limit political leadership to leadership in politics. Now, what does that mean? We say to ourselves that the value or the reward for this person becoming an elected official is that he must have demonstrated political leadership within a political framework. So he must have been in local governments, then to the House, and then to Congress, and then to Senate. Therefore, he can become president. So he can't come from outside where he has demonstrated capacity, right? So the question again is, what are the values of leadership that we're espousing? Are we looking for people we want to reward with political power because they've been in the political system? Or are we asking ourselves to bring people from everywhere who have demonstrated leadership? It may be owning an orphanage. It may be getting kids off the street. It may be reforming and rehabilitating values, just like the last guest that was on this show was talking about. That person is a leader. But if we say all her experience over the last 20 odd years accounts for nothing because she's held no political position, then what are we going to tell our youth? So when the youth want to run, for example, we say to them they have no experience. But they've got expertise in all the wonderful things they've done. But we say, oh, they don't have political experience. So the question is, what really is the value that we want our youth to know?
That then takes me to parenting.
Yeah.
Because it seems that a lot of parents wait till their children are grown to start teaching them about leadership. In your opinion, is this the right strategy?
No, I think every parent is a leader, and every parent models leadership to their kids. I have a daughter, she's 10, and I found that the best way, and she loves to read, so it may not be the best example, but the best way to get your kids to read is for you to read. They need to see you. And when they see you, they model behavior because they're impressionable. So when you're driving out of church or your mosque on a Sunday, and the services or Friday, and the service is done and everyone's trying to get out of church and everyone is cutting and blocking. All of you just heard the same word of God, and all of you are blocking. No, you can't pass me. And your kids are in the car and they're watching, and you're cussing and you're saying and all of those things are going in. So parents need to recognize to say, you know what, it's like, right now we're in the studio. It's lights, camera, action. And with your kids, you are constantly on air.
I see.
There's no off season. And I think that's where the modeling of the behavior that we want to be able to show in our kids is we've got to be able to model that behavior.
So we start from infancy.
The moment, technically, the moment you get pregnant, just begin. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. It's modeling the right kind of behavior that you want, because again, our nation is a reflection of the family unit that we have,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's something that I don't think a lot of people are aware of.
So for the young people, even though you've said we're all leaders today,
Right.
yeah, you've also given the analogy of the bus. We need to get the bad people off the bus,
Right.
and get the wrong people off the bus and get the right people onto the bus.
Yeah.
So for our next generation leaders, what skill sets do they have to be eligible to become the right people to get onto the bus?
Right. So, in my opinion, it is, they talk about hard skills and soft skills, but I think I prefer the phrase human skills.
Okay.
Let me use another example. So, when we talk about politics and the arguments about who is qualified to run or this, that, and the other, a critical consideration that I think that most of us never bring into conversation is to say, what kind of leader do you want? And I think, for example, if we said we want, for example, a president that loves Nigeria. So give you an example. I'm a parent. I didn't go to school for parenting. I didn't take any courses. Maybe, when I got married, I didn't even take any courses, so to speak, maybe counseling class, premarital counseling. But that was it. I never went to school to become a dad. I never went to school to learn how to pay school fees and be responsible and all those things. But I make the right decisions because I love my children. And because I love my children, I will constantly make the best decisions for them. I may not have the expertise or the experience in parenting, but because I love them, I'm going to make the right decisions for them. So I say this because one of the things we need to be able to bring into the conversation is love. Do we love, right? Do we love the people? Do we love the country? If you take a sample of people today and ask them, do you love Nigeria? Most people will say no. Unfortunately. And it's not their fault. And we can quote.
Nigeria has not been good to
Exactly. We can quote JFK and say, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. But unfortunately, the reverse here seems to be the case. And you can't blame them, because through successive administrations, and I'm not even blaming the guy at the top, I'm just saying that we've not loved our people to be able to do the best for them. So when it comes to leadership skills, love is a criteria. Love. Number 2, competence, right? And anyone who wants to lead must have shown and demonstrated competence in something in the past. Number 3, they've got to have character, right?
They've got to stand for something.
They've got to stand for something. And everyone needs to know that the buck stops here, and this is what it is. That person needs to have character. I think to some degree that person needs to have some level of capacity. And capacity in the case of, give you an example, and I know a lot of Nigerians will be able to relate with this. If you have a generator, I better pass my neighbor generator. No matter how passionate that generator is, it can't power maybe a duplex. It's passionate. It's got fuel, it's got gas, it's got all those wonderful things. But if it tries to power a duplex, it's going to blow. And what will it blow? It will blow its capacitor, because it doesn't have the right capacity. So we need leaders who have largeness of heart, largeness of thoughts, largeness of mind, largeness of saying, I don't care who gets the credits as long as the job is done. We need leaders who are willing to work in a team. We need leaders who are willing to communicate. And even if they don't get their way, we need leaders who are willing to compromise. I know it sounds like a lot of C's that I've said, but hey, it's kind of easy to remember.
So how do we have a lot of these types of leaders in corporate organizations? Yeah. We don't have a lot of them in government. There's a handful, but not enough.
True.
How do we ensure that the next set of leaders have a lot of these skill sets?
Well, there are a lot of amazing NGOs and other bodies who are investing or have invested over years in educating and raising leaders, even from high school to university, and even, you know, governance and non-governance. We've got a lot of people doing some great work there. But let me use this metaphor. If you've got a bottle of soda and you want to dilute that bottle, you can't do that by dropping one drop of water at a time. You've got to flood that bottle of soda with water. And the more water you pour, the more diluted the soda becomes. And ultimately, after a while, you really can't tell the difference between the bottle of soda and the bottle of water because they have been immersed. They now have the same characteristics. So in my opinion, I think we have a lot to do where the young people allow me to use the word, whose heads are correct, need to come into the system. Like, I'll take all of the, I mean, can you imagine?
Let's rephrase heads are correct to grammatically correct for non-Nigerians.
Well, okay, so for those of y'all who are non-Nigerians who don't know whose heads are not correct, what that means, it just simply means people of the right values, characters, and competence, right? Those kinds of people, and put them together into that kind of place. And I mean, can you imagine the civil service being run like one of Nigeria's tier 1 banks that are professional, can you imagine the civil service being run like that?
It will begin to change the country from the inside out.
Absolutely. But we all have to take responsibility.
You know, this problem of raising leaders, you know, it's just a lot because in my head, I'm just thinking, where do we start from? You've just talked about the civil service. Where do we start from? The local government, the local communities, where do we start from? How are we going to get out of this quagmire of ridiculousness that is our country? If you were going to create a blueprint, I want us to end with this. If you were going to create a blueprint for getting us out of the gutter, what is it going to be?
The first thing is, again, where's this bus going? So what's the Nigeria we want? And all of us must decide. And then the question we need to ask is, how does my role affect our goal? So let me give you an example. So when I do a lot of work for change managements and organizations and say, oh, this is our strategy, we want to get our people to do X, Y, and Z, we first ask, what's the vision? Where are we going? Once we know that and we get people's buy-in, the next question we need to ask is, okay, how does your role affect our goal? So let me use this analogy. Scripture says, it talks about the story of the Tower of Babel, and they wanted to build a tower that would reach the heavens. That was their goal. Now, and I believe it was a goal that everyone knew. But then when you ask the question, okay, how does your role affect our goal? So imagine going back in time and you see a stonemason and you ask him, yo, dude, what's our goal? He says, our goal is to build a tower to reach the heavens. How does your role affect our goal? He says, I'm the guy who chops the stones up so that when I chop it up, it helps to build the tower that will get to the heavens. You meet the guy who's fetching water at the stream and say, what's our goal? He says, our goal is to build a tower that will reach the heavens. How does your role affect our goal? Well, without me, because I'm the guy who brings water, without my water, we cannot build a tower that would reach the heavens. So my point is, all of us must know the goal. Then we must now be responsible and stop being selfish to say, well, I can take care of my power, I can take care of lights, I can take care of this. I don't care what happens in Nigeria because me and my estates, we're fine, we have 24 hours lights. Where all of us decide that if it's not good for the next person, then it's not good at all. Yeah. That's where we need to start from.
That's where we need to start from. Leadership, topic that never ends. We will continue. My role is to keep talking about it. Steve's role is to keep being a change agent.
Right.
We all have roles to play. So it's time we actually started doing something to get out of the quagmire that we put ourselves in. And on that note, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
I had fun.
Steve has been awesome. I'm really, really grateful. And your name precedes you.
Thank you.
You know, so I'm really honored that you said yes.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you. Up next, Fumi in place of Helen, John and myself will be rounding up the show very quickly. So please stay with us for a few more minutes whilst we round up. Thank you.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power, and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakare. Sundays, 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
For me, I wanted to change that culture. I didn't believe that until you see a white man or you see a foreigner in the kitchen before you can believe that, you know, good food is going to come out of that kitchen.
You can leverage on each other's spaces and, you know, sell. We believe in Nigeria, right? We believe that Nigeria can get better. We, the youth, are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
Are you ready to party right from the comfort of your TV screen? The Rundown's here to save the day. From freshly baked videos to the classics to the youngins and dope conversations, all in one chart. We got you covered. Just tune in to The Rundown every Friday, 10:30 p.m. West African time. The Rundown. Let's turn it up.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Interesting conversation Farrah had with Steve Harris. I totally enjoyed it. And it's very instructive what he has said.
Yep. It was I just hope we can implement those things.
I hope so. I really
because
hope so.
that is where the problem lies. A lot of the times we hear these things, but we go off and we don't do anything about it.
And there was something you also said that I really like, when you said that we enable them by being passive or just by excusing it. We truly enable the bad leadership that we have.
We do every day. But this thing is twofold. They're us, the enablers, and then there's where do we even start from?
Exactly.
When you're trying to teach the average person leadership skills, they're not interested.
It's actually threefold.
Okay.
Because the third fold is my nugget.
Okay, so
threefold.
So we go to my nugget.
Yes, please,
And
let's
of
go.
course, for the nugget, we're actually trying to help people, with the
And
public-
ourselves.
and ourselves,
Yeah.
with public speaking skills.
Skill, yes.
So my nugget for today, and I'm looking at Farah, I don't know why.
You're always looking at
I always
Farah.
do that.
I'm looking very
The nugget
busy
for
now.
today is this. You want to look professional and authoritative, but mostly you want to be yourself. That's the authentic you.
Yep.
So again, this is to let us know that just be yourself. As much as you want to be professional in the way you deliver and authoritative, being yourself is what cuts it.
It is. Very true.
It puts you in your comfort zone. It helps you communicate. It makes you real and makes it believable. So the most important thing is not to sound like the Queen of England. If you can't, just you be yourself.
Just be yourself. So should I start dancing here?
So just be yourself. So that's my nugget for today. Yeah.
Interesting. What are we discussing next Saturday? Even though I will be here, Helen will be here hopefully then. What are the topics for
Values and social media.
Oh,
Values
and social media.
You know the thing with that topic?
Yeah.
Values and social media, we forget that everything in life is about values.
Very true. Very
and it
true.
plays a role in social media and how we interact and engage on social media.
So I look forward to it.
Yes.
Me too. I really
You
will.
too?
Yes, I look forward. Even though I won't be here, but I will be behind the scenes. So I really look forward to
You
it.
never know. I may just get Helen out of the way again.
We may become John, Helen, Fumi, and Pharaoh.
Let's keep our Helen. I like my behind the scenes job.
Oh.
All right. Okay. So I think that's it for this Saturday. Thank you so much for joining Pharaoh, Fumi, and JS on the show.
Without Helen.
Yes, without Helen. There'll be a repeat. There'll be a repeat broadcast at 10:30 p.m. tonight, right after the news, so you can get to watch it again. Thank you. So, Pharaoh, any words from you?
Thank you so much for joining us. And please, please, please watch the repeat, watch on YouTube, and do tune in next week, Saturday.
And from me, like Pharaoh will say, awesome.
And on that note, it's goodbye and God bless. Thank you very much.
See you.
Bye.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Most people know the common symptoms of the original COVID-19 variant, which are shortness of breath, cough, fever, sore throat, loss of taste or smell. It is important, however, to note that there are new variants of the coronavirus which are caused by mutations of the virus. The original Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and now the Delta variant. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, the Delta variant, also known as B.1.617.2, can spread more easily as it has mutations on the spike protein that makes it easier for it to infect human cells. This means people may be more contagious if they contract the virus and more easily spread it to others. It is 50% more contagious than the Alpha variant, which is already 50% more contagious than the original coronavirus first identified in China in 2019. Its new symptoms are headaches, runny nose, and a sore throat. Now, while the Delta variant is still being studied, there are 5 things we need to note about it. 1. It spreads really quickly. One thing that sets this variant apart from others is the speed at which it's spreading. For instance, in just a few months' time, it went from being non-existent to becoming the dominant variant in the US, India, and the United Kingdom. 2. It could cause other symptoms. Cold-like symptoms such as headache, runny nose, and a sore throat top the list in the ongoing study of the Delta variant. 3. Vaccinated individuals are protected against the Delta variant. Medical experts have stated that the Delta variant is no match for the authorized vaccines as they provide a high level of protection against Delta and other variants circulating in the world. The AstraZeneca vaccine has been shown to be 60% effective at preventing infection and 92% effective at preventing hospitalization caused by the Delta variant, just to mention an instance. 4. Unvaccinated people are at risk. People who have not been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 are most at risk of being infected with the Delta variant. And for the first time, kids and young people are a concern as well. A recent study from the United Kingdom showed that children and adults under 50 were 2.5 times more likely to become infected with the Delta variant, as the variant seems to be impacting younger age groups more than previous variants. 5. Masks are still important. Health experts across the world advise everyone to still wear their mask, even though fully vaccinated against COVID-19. They are also advising unvaccinated people to avoid large gatherings and mask up indoors where the vaccination status of other people are unknown. And 6. Other variants are still on the way. Even though the Delta variant is currently the most prominent strain of COVID-19 currently, the Lambda variant out of South America is still emerging. Health experts urge that if people want to get back to normal, a significant portion of